Is up, guys? We are back for our last Showdown breakdown, and I got Gator Guy here, Gator Guy 231, wearing his Gator hat. He's got his
Well,
hometown
it's
Tampa Bay Bucks in the Super Bowl. So
right. Did not expect it. Actually, it's funny. I'm a big Bill Simmons fan. I know, like, yeah, that's like a very trying to think of the right word. Goes either way. But he had like Romo on. I think it was like week 12, and after the KC game, I think Romo did it, and he said, "I have a really good feeling that the Bucks are about to come together." And I was like pissed off at the time, like, no chance. And here we are. So Tony Romo, smart guy.
awesome. Yeah, well, we're really excited for all you listeners. If you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. And if you've enjoyed, the content all year, the Showdown content that we've had and other NFL content that we've had, we greatly appreciate it and hope you continue to come back and check out everything we have going on here. Because I think we have a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, man.
And we're only going to keep going up, man.
Absolutely. Almost, I was mentioning this morning, I did the FanDuel this morning. So, if I'm good at editing, I'll put a card up there in the top right now. But, that was fun to do. FanDuel has two different types of single games. They have like an extended roster one, which is pretty cool. Some fairly soft pricing too. So yeah, we got a ton coming for Super Bowl. We have EPL is up. We've got like NBA every day during the week. Chris doing NHL, like subscribed, almost 2,000 subscribers in the first year. So it's been awesome. Let's keep it going. All right, let's jump into the games, man.
Yeah, we are going to get into this, and we are going to really kind of keep the similar format to what a format that really worked for us all season, and that is like keeping it condensed enough that you can walk away here in 15 minutes and really feel like you have a spot to build on. So, and most of what the odds are right now, if you've been paying attention at all, that we have a 3-point favorite for Kansas City. And, honestly, if I was taking a side, I would take, -3 KC, but that is not in my my state. It's not illegal in my state, but that's the side I would take. So let's start on the KC side.
Yep.
And Gator Guy and I, or Keith, or either way.
Whatever my name is, it doesn't matter.
We were talking before this and talking about this slate in general. And I think because of it being a Super Bowl showdown, the pricing is honestly pretty soft.
Yep.
And I think that's because we want the casuals that are going to play in this $500,000 GPP $3 buy-in to be able to feel like they can build something. So off the top of the bat, we're going to have the three studs in Mahomes, Kelsey, and Hill. And it's super easy to build with all three.
Yep.
So, and not that I have to spend a ton of time on these guys, but, Keith, you mentioned something before we got on here about why you don't think you actually think the injuries to the offensive line might actually, make this group even better. Can you?
So I mean, let's think about it this way. So Kansas City doesn't have their two tackles, and I believe it's their starting left guard out. So and the Bucs were great against the run too, and we saw, especially in the playoffs, it was Williams one moment. They tried out Bell. He stinks. He's dust. Edwards-Helaire, kind of looks lost since he came back from injury. So you already had a tough running game. Like, Kansas City's running game wasn't that great. They're up against a fantastic run defense, and now you don't have two of your starting offensive linemen. So I just think it's going to be conducive, and Todd Bowles blitzes a ton. So I really do think it's just going to be conducive to Pat Mahomes, a lot of shorter passes, shorter dropbacks. And who do we know runs in the low A-dot areas? We see a ton of Travis Kelce. And then we see a lot of the time when Andrew Reid knows he doesn't have the time, that he's throwing Tyreek Hill on these little shovel passes, little screens, little drag routes, just to get him out in space and going. So, I think honestly that the injuries, while it should hurt the passing game from a DFS perspective, it's just going to funnel so much usage to Travis Kelce and to Tyreek Hill. And guess what? If I'm going to pay up for two high-priced wide receivers, I'm probably going to play like the best DFS quarterback that's ever lived.
Yeah, I think you can definitely say that with a lot of confidence, because I don't think, at least, I don't think there's, what was the stat that I read? That he hasn't lost a game by more than one touchdown since like his sophomore year of college or something like that. And
I was going to say that was Cliff's fault too. So
yeah, right. So like, I mean, the guy just like, and like we mentioned before, and people know KC is good, but some of these things, like what Keith just mentioned in in those injuries actually boosting these guys. And when they're winning, they're like the Bills. Their best offense is still to throw the ball and throw it short. And when they're throwing short, usually the guys that are going to is Kelsey and Hill. So
Yeah.
I think the build, as we talked about a little bit before we got on here, is that it's going to be really an optimal build and a cashy, chalky build is to use one of these three guys in the captain spot.
And I was just going to say on that too, because I think everybody's going to gravitate towards Mahomes as the captain because you can make it work. But like, there's a great chance by Sunday in like the optimal lineups that Tyreek might be my captain if it needs to happen, because I really do think the projection ranges on the three of them is a lot closer than even the salary dictates away. So if I go Tyreek captain, hell, he almost like had 300 yards at halftime the last time these two teams played. The Bucs defense is a lot better, but there's just going to be so much. I think Kelsey and Hill combined for 25 targets.
Oh yeah, that could even be a little low depending on what the game script is, which is crazy. But and I just think assume they both catch a touchdown and they both are like 8 to 10 catches and they're both over 100 yards. At that point, it's still hard actually for Mahomes to outscore them unless he has a rushing touchdown. Right. Like the rushing touchdown is what is the dagger to playing one of the other two at captain, that can just like minimize that value. But overall, like we're not projecting a Mahomes rushing touchdown, especially when he's not even completely healthy in terms of his like turf toe and those types of things that he was dealing with. Like I just see that being a little bit more unlikely than we've seen in the past. So we know those three studs, you can get them in. I think they're going to be all three more popular than Tom Brady, Godwin, Evans. So let's get down to where there's going to be a lot more decisions made. I'm going to just skip over Hilaire and Cash.
Yeah.
I think projections, I read one place that projections like have 7 guys cheaper than him that are projecting higher than him. So he is completely GPP only for me. And as a cash only player, I'm going to be, fading him completely.
Yep. I'll take both kickers over Edwards-Hilaire. Anybody that wants to throw that prop at me, easy.
Yeah, absolutely. So now let's get into what is going to be the wide receiver roulette after what we see after our studs. We have Hardman, we have Watkins, who's likely going to play, Robinson, who is now active off of the COVID list, Pringle. So where do you rank, those 4 guys? And who are you considering any of them or just kind of GPP flyers?
First, I'll throw it in flex because nobody's going to use any of these guys at captain. So let's get the flex pricing. There we go.
I see what you mean. Oh,
yeah,
gotcha.
Yeah. All right. So in answer to your question, I have the kickers ahead of all of them. I really liked Pringle. If I thought Watkins was limited and that Robinson was still out, like he's had 5, 3, and 6 targets in the 2 games in the playoffs, he's at 8 targets, right? So for 1,800, I was like, okay, I can make that work. But I think at this point in this range, we're not on the Bucs pricing, but I think a lot more people are going to gravitate toward Ronald Jones, where you can get maybe like 7 to 9 carries, and maybe only like 1 less target than these guys, right? Like Ronald Jones might have 0 targets and only have 1 less target, or might have an equal amount of target as some of these guys. I just think it's too hard to project them for anything. I think we're going to have better options on the other side of the ball. You?
Yeah, no, I'm in the same spot. I think if Hardman was cheaper, because I feel like they actually design plays for him.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd be more apt to pay like $3K for Hardman.
You can't fit him on the slate. You can't play him on the slate.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to get up to him. And I think I still prefer Watkins over him, assuming he gets his similar role back. But we do know that with the injuries, I don't know. I can't say that that's completely the reason why Watkins isn't viable because of the injuries, because Mahomes extend plays and then all of a sudden Watkins is wide open down the sideline and 60-yard bomb and he paid off his 4.2. But like you said, I think this slate, both of the kickers project higher and a median perspective in cash and have a higher floor than any of the receivers here for in this mid-range here for KC. Obviously they have more upside in a touchdown fashion, but other than that, probably not looking here quite a bit. So,
and I'll just throw this out there too. I would take both defenses before I take any of those fringe wide receiver guys. I think the Bucs have some sack equity, and then I think that the Chiefs have serious interception equity against Brady.
Yeah, that's definitely viable. Any last thing here for KC? Any interest in Darrell Williams or Le'Veon Bell?
No. I don't
Yeah,
like the run game. I don't like the run game versus the Bucs. I just don't see it. I
yep.
think they're more likely to you're gonna get those fake runs where they do the shovel pass to Kelsey or the little I don't want to call it shovel. What do they call it? A pop pass, I think they call
Oh
it.
yeah,
But
yep.
where Mahomes still gets credit, but it's in front of him. Like
Right.
I think that's the type of run that they're trying to get width because the running backs, the Bucs line, like they got Vita Vea back. Oh my God, I'm blinking on the middle linebacker. Oh Jesus. Anyhow, the Bucs linebackers are fast. Levante Davis is fast. Devin White. There we go. Devin White. They're just too fast. So Le'Veon Bell's not good. Darrell Williams is good, but I just don't think he has enough speed to get to the outside. The inside's going to be torn up by Vita Vea and Sue. So no, I'm just not big on KC running game. All right, Bucs. Let's go.
All right, let's get to the Bucs here. I think Tom Brady is the most viable. If you as in a cash option, if you want to get off of one of the KC studs, and I would expect the game script to be in his favor, but I do still think they have enough commitment to the run game and know that is still a good matchup against KC. That I just, he can definitely put up 30 here, but I think the likelihood of Kelsey and Hill outscoring him,
super strong,
is strong.
And the Bucs can have more balance too. Here's the other thing, like you can't even see him on the screen, but Ronald Jones is going to be one of the most popular Bucs because of his price. And you have to remember, Ronald Jones is going to be popular because he's going to get touches on top of Leonard Fournette getting touches. So the Bucs are going to be a lot more balanced in Kansas City on Sunday, in my opinion. So, we were talking about this before. Shout out to like FSI is coming to Clubhouse, guys. So if you're on Clubhouse, make sure you're watching. Follow both of us. But we were talking about this on a little Clubhouse thing we did beforehand. That realistically, the Bucs have so many more weapons. Like this sounds weird because Kansas City's offense is so good, but the Bucs have so many more weapons on Sunday than Kansas City that Tom Brady wants to get the ball. He wants to get the ball to Evans. He wants to get the ball to Godwin. He wants to get the ball to now healthy Antonio Brown. He wants to throw the ball to Lenny. He wants to throw the ball once or twice to Gronk. Cam Brate, even like Scotty Miller. Like that's more names than Kansas City has. So, let me take the congestion, the target congestion of Hill and Kelsey versus the roulette wheel, which is the Bucs skill positions.
Yeah, absolutely. I think in cash, if people get to Godwin or Evans, I think Godwin has the better matchup, and I think we'll see more of ownership. I think Evans is always a big play touchdown dependent receiver who could put up 5 or could put up 40. So I think if you're looking for a low owned like captain play that you like run back with like Brady and then maybe even like 1 or 2 KC studs, if you can make that work, like I think that is definitely a low owned GPP play that might work. Other than that, I think Fournette's way too expensive in my opinion. If he's going to be kind of splitting touches, I know the target share has been kind of insane lately, but I just don't really expect to see that if Antonio Brown is back and they just have a plethora of guys. I just don't see them checking down to Fournette as often.
Yeah, I mean, unless Fournette's only get 4 or 5 targets. It's just what can he do with those targets? Because if it turns into 3 catches for 13 yards, it's still not going to get there at his price.
Right, and I don't think just the builds are not going to be. There's not a build unless you only play 2 studs that you're going to get anything into that Evans, Fournette, Godwin range to play like 2 of those guys.
Just don't land there. I agree.
So,
you try to. You even go out of your way to try to do it, and you don't get there.
Right, absolutely. All right, let's finish up with the value here for Tampa, and then I just want to say we'll just go over like top 3 plays, fade, and the best values on the slate. So we got Brate, Suckup, Miller, Gronk, and Ronald Jones. And I think Tyler Johnson, if Antonio Brown is back, I just don't think he's even really a question anymore. So as Keith mentioned earlier, and you'll probably see around the entire industry that Ronald Jones is going to probably be one of the chalkiest values on the slate. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean he's a good play in a vacuum. You're playing him for the opportunity cost of 10 touches, not because you expect those 10 touches to turn into 50 yards, because that's not probably the case. You're hoping that one of them's a goal line touch, a touchdown. Maybe he breaks a big one, or maybe he catches 1 or 2 balls. So what is your kind of assessment here at the bottom here for Tampa Bay?
No, I think just on the Ronald Jones point, I think that it's kind of what we said on the KC side, right? You played Ronald Jones because realistically, he might only have one less target than another wide receiver at the same range. So he might get 0 targets. That other wide receiver might get 1. But Ronald Jones, is going to get like 6, 7, 8 carries. So, at least, he touches the ball. And, if one of those times he touches the ball, if he happens to fall into the end zone, then you're golden. And I think that's why you're playing him. Because here's the thing, everybody else down here, like my favorite player outside of Ronald Jones is probably Gronk or the Bucs defense at 3K or less. And I think Gronk, we had a question on Clubhouse. I'll just say this on Gronk. I think they're setting something up. That's just my gut feeling. They had that one, it was a very much designed like a delayed tight end screen to him. And he got like 28 yards, I think, on it. They have one play a game that it's just like purely designed to get Gronk in space or Gronk in the end zone. So, I think he's very viable at 3K. I don't know if he's a cash play. He's just probably a pivot, in my opinion, like an ownership pivot off of Ronald Jones. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they might, target him a couple times in the end zone or something like that. But
why wouldn't you? He's huge.
Yeah. And then let's end on this for the Bucs. I think Miller, if he gets the 1 30-yard catch, 40-yard catch, he pays off his price tag, but the actual target share volume is going to be super low. I prefer Brait, just in terms of, being part of the regular flow of the offense and in the passing game. And then I think Suckup is definitely viable at 3,800. I feel like Tampa Bay is more likely to kick a field goal on 4th and 2 than KC is.
Okay.
So that is part of where, Butker's always obviously in the red zone. They're always ready to score, but I do think the likelihood of field goals is more prone to Suckup than it would be to Butker.
Yeah, and I just want to say this. I can't remember if I said it now, but do not sleep on the Bucs defense. And it's probably a GPP play, but like if you did it in cash, I would not call you crazy because we know Kansas City is going to be, we talked about, they're going to struggle to run. So they're going to be throwing the ball a ton. Like you could play the top 3 Kansas City. They could go off and the Bucs defense could still show up with 8 points, with, a couple sacks, a fumble recovery, a pick. Because you're missing 2 tackles and Todd Bowles blitzes a ton. Like, I think there's been articles about it, but shootouts, defenses actually perform pretty decent in shootouts. Like that's where you can get some outlier performances. So don't sleep on Bucs D.
Awesome. All right. So we're going to finish off here with just kind of building a potential build, which will also outline favorite value, favorite cash play. So my 3 favorite cash plays, and it's pretty clear and obvious, is going to be Hill, Kelsey, and Mahomes. And for building purposes here, I'm just going to use the cheapest of them because I don't think their projection is going to be all that different, honestly, between the 3. So in order to see what we can work with salary. And then here at the bottom, I'm just going to plug in the chalk of Ronald Jones. And then this is where you're going to get a lot of options. And I think,
the best kicker at that point.
Yeah, you can go double kicker. You can go Brait kicker. You can go Watkins kicker. I don't think if you want, you can't go Hardman kicker, but if you wanted to go to Miller and kicker, so there's a lot of options here. And then if you want to go to Mahomes captain, then you're just a little bit more tied to not getting up to Brait. And I think, Watkins is like your highest you can go.
Yeah. I mean, and, I think within this too, you could easily flip to Pat Mahomes there and probably end up a double kicker too. So I think people could very well do that. And, the decision point of the slate really is going to be like 3 of the 4 studs. Who do you play?
Yeah, and
Tom Brady. And if Tom Brady squeaks in there, then Tom Brady looks like the right play.
Right, or who you use at captain. So, thanks again for listening, guys. We are pumped for the Super Bowl and just really appreciate all the support here at our channel. So, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. Hey, in the comments, if you're still listening, throw us your favorite captain choice for this slate, and we will see what we get for some results. So thanks again.
Before we go, score prediction, Chris.
Well, let's see. On my board, I think I got KC at a 1. So let's go 31, and I got Tampa Bay at 27. So 31-27. KC covers the spread, and I win on my Super Bowl squares.
All right. Bucs 34, Kansas City 30. Brady to Gronk in the final minute of the game.
Homer.
You think? Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. And for those that watch all the soccer videos, see ya.